Hey guys, STI back here with another video. This is super unannounced and I haven't posted in a while, but I've currently, well, for the last week or two, I've owned a shop with a couple of my buddies, and we are going to be doing a whole teardown on my 2012 STI. It currently has a head that's lifted and it needs to be addressed, and it's been like that for a while. While we're in the process, we're going to be upgrading a bit more of the car, and we're going to see how far we take it and see where it ends us at. I don't think it's going to take us too long. We got to get the heads decked. We got to do a couple other things. Heads decked. We're going to reseal the whole engine. We're going to put a stage 3 clutch into it, something from ACT. It's going to be dope. External wastegate, tome headers, you know, all those good stuff, all that good stuff. So we are currently heading to the shop right now. It's my brother in front of us in his Hawkeye, his 06 Hawkeye. And we are just gonna, I'll cut the video till we get there, so we get there safely. Well, as you can see, we are at the shop. I'll give you guys a little tour, but basically what ended up happening was I lifted a head pushing too much boost, or the heads got worked from overheating, this, that. Anyways, the car pushes coolant now, there's bubbles in there, so that needs to be addressed before it becomes a bigger issue. I do have plans for this car. I do plan on keeping this car for a while. I have my buddy's 08 hatchback back there. There's no motor in there. So with the help of my friend Jerome, me and a couple other friends, we're gonna get this motor out and we're gonna address that issue. I need to go get the heads decked. There's gonna be a whole complete thing about this car, but I'm gonna basically refresh the whole engine. Besides that fact, the car itself is good, the body of it is good, but the coolant pushing out of the overflow tank that I'll show you here in a second isn't. I started noticing signs of when this started happening, when I started pushing too much boost. You guys need a boost controller. You need to regulate that boost somehow so this doesn't happen to you. I don't think it was the head gasket that failed. I think the previous owner might have overheated the car and didn't realize how much damage they caused. So I'm gonna take it into my own hands and repair it myself. It's a lot cheaper doing it yourself. We're gonna break down how to do it yourself. And we're just gonna show you how step to step take out a Subaru motor. It's really not that hard. I'm gonna show you guys a teardown, what we mainly have to get out. Yeah. I'm only 18 with some tools, so let's see what we can do. This wouldn't be possible without my friends, my dad, my family. My friends are amazing. They help me a lot, and so does my parents, so shout out to them. And we have my brother over here. Let's see, flip the camera around. That's my brother right there. Show you his Hawkeye. Little peek of it. That's his 06 Hawkeye. That doesn't have issues, unlike my car. But here's the STI. Here's the shop. But that's the STI. That's the 08 hatchback. The more sought after version of this, but that's my STI sedan. There's currently no motor in this car. Like I said, my friend's gonna help me pull the motor out of this one as well, since he's already been through the routes more than once. Long story on that. But yeah, we have the tools. We have an engine stand. Pretty sure we have everything to do this. My engine crane, engine stand right there. Whole bunch of tools and assortments over there. And a couch. And we have head gaskets, we need them, so. But yeah, that's it. I guess we should just start this and start showing you how to break this down. So there's gonna be a couple steps when pulling the Subaru motor. To each their own. You can do it the way that I do it, or how other people do it. So focus. But basically, what we're gonna start with is simple things. We're gonna get the stuff around the engine that's connected. We're gonna get it, you know, all taken apart and whatnot. Intake, radiator needs to come out, secondary air pump, battery, intercooler. Most likely that strut brace is gonna have to come out and make it easier. What else I'm trying to think? From there, we'll start pulling this cover, alternator, AC. You don't have to disconnect the lines for the AC. You can just put it aside where the battery is. And for the power steering pump, same thing. You can just put it to the side. Don't disconnect it, because then you're gonna have to re-bleed it, etc., etc. Then from there, we'll start taking off the intake manifold. Pull that off with the turbo inlet, and then we should hit the short block. There's gonna be some PVC hoses, and then we'll get to that when we get there. I'm not really quite sure on how you go about that. I know the clutch pin has to come out. A couple of sensors. You want to make sure nothing's connected. We got to do the fuel line somehow. I might have to run to Harbor Freight to go figure that out. But yeah, so stuff around the engine is gonna come out first. I'm just gonna do a time lapse on how to do this. So yeah, just bear with me. It's my first time, so. All right. So we're only a couple minutes in. Stuff is starting to free up. I'm about to take off the intercooler. I should have mentioned, make sure you guys take off your battery. Disconnect that. You really don't want the battery connected, especially when you're messing with electronics. I probably should have said that first. But yeah. About the coolant. Basically, when you have head gasket failure, whether you lift a head, when you're pushing, let's say 20 psi, 21, 22, whatever your peak is, your head gaskets it's trying to gasket the engine, right? It's keeping oil and coolant separate from each other from the combustion chambers. Well, when you lift a head, because there's rod bolts, or head bolts, sorry, not rod bolts. When there's head bolts, these Subaru head bolts are really they're not good at trying to keep things together, and over time, they're torque to yield bolts, so you can only use them once. And when they heat up, and when you're pushing 20 psi, when the factory is like 8 psi, they tend to stretch. And when they stretch, the heads start pushing outside when it's into boost, and it starts lifting the head, lift. So it starts pushing coolant and combustion gases into the coolant system, and it'll start pushing out of your radiator into here, leaving your car with no coolant inside of it. So the only proper way to fix this is pulling the engine, doing all the good stuff, getting those heads decked, and getting new head gaskets. And the main fix for that would be getting ARP, I think 2000s. So those are actually head bolts. Head studs. They're head studs, not head bolts, sorry. They're head studs, and those would, basically, the head studs would go into the block. Instead of having just one big bolt, it's just a stud that goes into the block, and then you tighten it with a nut on it. So with it being like that, and with the hardware being better from ARP, you can torque these way more, like a lot more. And the torque sequence isn't by degrees or angles, it's just by torque. So it's not as complicated to put everything back together with the OEM head bolts. It's a lot easier to just do ARPs and get this completely fixed right and done right. So yeah, I'm gonna pull off the intercooler, and then we'll see where we're at. I'm probably gonna pull that strut brace. I gotta disconnect the air oil separator. There's a cylinder 4 cooling mod in this car. I also have disconnect. And I gotta pull a secondary air pump. And then we'll start getting to the oil, the radiator, and we'll start seeing what else there is. Shit runs for real. Oh, your bumper's coming off though. Fine. Shit. All right. So the video skipped a bit forward, but this is where we're at. Basically, the way you want to go about this is. I suggest doing the intake manifold inside the car. It's a lot easier doing it like that. With the intake manifold inside the car, if you take it out, it's gonna be a lot easier pulling like the actual engine itself. You won't have a lot of things in the way. Getting the fuel lines disconnected is not hard at all, as long as you have one of these. Let me see. If you have these like AC disconnect lines or whatever, let me guess see that. If you have those tools, it's not that bad. Pulling the TGVs with the fuel injectors, I did it as one whole combo. So you can just keep it all together. That's what I ended up doing. That went with the wiring harness. The wiring harness went with the TGVs. It's really not that hard as long as you have patience. I'm gonna flip the camera around. So this is what we're currently looking at. This is my bare short block. Turbo's still on. You can actually leave the turbo on. I ended up taking off the downpipe as well. Buddy helped me out with that. But you can pull the motor with the turbo still in. The next video is going to be taking off the coolant crossover pipe, the barometric sensor for the secondary air pump. Got to take off the knock sensor, and then we should be ready to pull the motor. Honestly, I got to do slave cylinder and the starter. So that's going to be the next video. Next video will be pulling the motor. It won't be that hard. That's really about it, honestly. Obviously, it's gonna be part 3, part 4, part 5. But I'm gonna end the video off here. It was, I mean, if you want to do this, what I just did took around 5 to 6 hours. So honestly, it's not that bad. You just gotta have patience, and if you have people to help you, it's really gonna help, honestly. As long as you are committed and aren't afraid of doing something like this, then you can definitely do this. Yeah, I mean, you could. It's probably possible just doing it with yourself, honestly. As long as you have the engine stand, obviously the engine hoist and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna end the video here. Stay tuned for the next video. It's gonna be even cooler. We're probably gonna have more people come in and help us, and I'll introduce them and whatnot. But for being a first legit video, this is not bad. We made awesome progression doing this. So I'm gonna end it here. It's been a long day, long night. I got work in 5 hours. So yeah, I'm tired. Really tired. All right, well, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned. Thank you. Goodbye.